May 2017, Saturday afternoon, at about 6 o'clock in the evening. There's a lot of commotion in the hive this afternoon, and the reason is that the bees have swarmed. So this is the hive from which the bees have swarmed. This is called a national hive. It's the typical hive which is used in the United Kingdom. And we're going to try and relocate the bees into another type of hive. This is called a WBC. Also very popular indeed. And what we have here is the board on which the bees will be tipped once they've been caught in a large cardboard box. And here we have the brood box where the bees will go into the hive once they have all crawled in, and hopefully they will build their nest here. Now I will show you one of the frames which we use here. So I'm going to take out a frame just to show you like this. This is a frame. This is called a brood frame, and it has what we know as foundation wax on it. It's been prepared, and the bees will hopefully make their nest here. They will draw the comb out, and then the new queen will start laying eggs, and also obviously honey will be gathered. So I'm going to put this back again, and then we shall observe the process of catching the swarm or shaking the swarm into a large cardboard box in which we'll be capturing the bees. I'm going to go over now under the tree, and that's where you'll see me next. So here we are under the tree with the box. I'm going to shortly undertake a most precarious operation. I'm going to shake the entire colony of bees, this swarm, into this box. I'm going to carefully cover it up and put it on the ground. Now, when the bees have swarmed, they're in a very docile mood. So they'll be flapping and buzzing around everywhere, but actually they won't be interested in stinging. They won't be aggressive at all. They will just simply go wherever the queen is. And as long as the queen is inside the box, then the bees will also go inside the box. And there'll be quite a lot of, as I said, of commotion. So it's always a nerve-wracking experience, because if I miss or if I drop the whole lot, then all hell will be loose. So please watch carefully, fingers crossed that we have a successful shake. So here is the swarm. I'm lowering it down now. I'm lowering it into the box, above the box, and I'm suddenly going to jerk it down, and they will all fall in. Are we ready then? Fingers crossed that we have a successful shake. 1, 2, 3, go. And there they are. The bees have all fallen in. They've all fallen in. They're wondering what the dickens is going on. And they're slightly panicking, but I'm not panicking. And that's a very good sign indeed. We're covering them up now. We're covering them up now like this. And we're going to now put the box on the ground. Once I've got the box on the ground, I will then recompose myself. I will then go over to the hive, take the box over, and I will then pour all the bees onto our ramp. And you see there's virtually just a remnant of the swarm is left up there, but we're now going to move quickly to pick the bees up in the box and to take them over to the hive. So we can now follow very carefully. We can now shoot. So here we are. We're at the hive now. The box has got the bees in it, and you see there's virtually nothing. They're not doing anything at all. They're all contained. And we're going to remove this part of the outer part of the hive to give us more space. So that's the crown board going there, and these are the various components of the hive which are going over here. And this is the roof. And we just move all of that along there, because we're now concerned with this part here, which is the board on which the bees are going to be tipped. Bees have a natural tendency to move upwards. So when you tip them out onto the board, they will all start immediately filing into the hive, and they will then start, hopefully, finding their way into these frames. Now, these are frames which contain just foundation wax, and the bees will use this foundation wax to draw it out to make honeycomb and also brood comb, where the queen will hopefully start laying eggs. So I'm now going to open this box up. the bees are already quite curious to know what's going on, and I will tip them onto here. Now, the most important thing when you tip the bees onto the thing is to make sure that the queen goes up, because if the queen ends up falling off the edge or missing the entrance, then the entire swarm will have failed and it will end up somewhere on the bottom of the hive and we'll have to repeat the procedure. So I have to be very careful when I do this to make sure that the bees they're already, now I'm opening the box up and you can see the bees are already moving upwards. They're already starting to, because that's their natural tendency, and here they are, and they're on the inside like that as well, and I can quickly show you what they look like here. There they are, and I'm now going to tip them all out onto this board, hoping, and they, by the way, I have to tell you, they do smell very nice. They smell of honey, believe it or not. I'm going to tip them now onto there very carefully, and hopefully, there they are. A few good shakes. This is called a shook swarm because we shake it. There they are. Now then, there are our bees. They're all down there, and they're now disorientated because they've been shaken. But hopefully, what's going to happen now, the bees will probably, if you can come a little closer, Oscar, then that will be very much appreciated. You don't have to be afraid. They're not at all interested in you or me. They are interested. Now we can see this process where they start to move upwards. They're finding their way at the moment. They're still disorientated, but hopefully we should see very shortly bees coming in and starting to go up the ramp and inside. And once they've found the way inside, they will then start to all follow in. And hopefully the queen will go in as well. But we really can't predict this. We have to let them find it themselves. You can now see some bees have crossed over onto the white part of the hive. Some bees have crossed over onto the white part of the hive. We have a danger zone on the edge there where some bees are going in that direction. And I may have to move the board a little, and they're beginning to go in now. They've just started to go into the hive, and they're smelling it around, they're feeling their way, and they're beginning to start. The journey is beginning. If you can possibly come around, Oscar, to show where the bees are beginning to actually start their march into the hive. This does not mean by any means that we have a success. It means that we're going in the right direction. We have to be careful because some of the bees have climbed on those bits of pot which I've put there. That's merely to weigh the thing down. But what we can see clearly is the bees are now marching into the hive here, and they're beginning to go up in large numbers, which is a very good sign indeed. The swarm is now migrating. They're telling each other this is a good place, and they're all moving into the hive. This does not mean, I repeat, that we have successfully located the swarm into the hive. It merely means we're off to a good start. The whole essence of this is whether the queen goes in. And at the moment I can look around and I can see whether I can see the queen. She'll be longer than all the others. I can certainly see worker bees and I can see drones, but I can't see the queen. But what I do have to tell you is that they are rapidly going inside the hive and beginning to feel at home. Now, while that process is happening, I'm now going to close the rest of the hive. So please keep the film running. I'm going to close off the rest of the hive to make sure that the bees are inside here. So we've now put the crown board on. This is the brood chamber. And now I'm going to build up the hive into the way in which you can normally recognize a beehive. So we put these outer wall on together. This is a wall which serves as a very good insulation. I can see, whoops-a-daisy, I moved that around a little bit. That wasn't very bright. That's all okay now. And the bees continue their march inwards. We now put the next part of this on. We put the next part of this on, of this hive. And now we continue with the next part here. And then we put the roof on. The roof is purely serves to prevent rain when it rains from going in and from other kind of debris from falling into the hive. Please note, this does not mean that we have successfully rehived the bees. we won't know that until tomorrow morning, because this is going to take a few hours for the bees to settle. What we do also, we leave the box with the remaining bees, if there are any. As you see, the box is now virtually empty. All the bees have fallen in, and it does seem that indeed the bees are going into the hive. This operation has gone remarkably smoothly, at least from this point of view. And if the queen has gone inside, then we can say that the new bees will start to feel at home. And thank you very much for coming closer. This is much appreciated. We can have a close-up of the bees going in. Thank you very much, Oscar. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The bees, as you see, they're very docile. They're not at all concerned that I'm talking, that someone's filming them. And the reason is that they have one aim in mind, and that's to get into their new home and follow the queen. Follow my leader. That's what they're all saying at the moment. Right. We're going to now switch off the film and return in either a few minutes or tomorrow morning to see whether it's been successful. Thank you for watching, and very goodbye. Oscar, amazing. Right, so I've decided actually just to show you a little bit more. I'm going to go in as close as I can and ask you to listen to the sound of the bees as they're buzzing and humming. And also, as I go closer up, you may be able to distinguish worker bees from drones. I can see a drone in the middle, and worker's just walked over her, and that, over him rather, and that drone is now, there are a couple of drones there, they have larger bodies, and they're the ones that fertilize the queen. As you see, the bees are very placid. I'm filming with my bare hands. I don't have any protective gloves on. And as you see, everything is okay. I'm going to try and zoom in. Maybe we can try and distinguish between the drones. Oh, there's a drone. Can you see the drone, the big one running around there? The big one, camera shy, clearly not wanting to be in the limelight. We're now, there you can see a couple of drones there with a large wings, and the workers, beautiful, beautiful insects. Bee has just settled on my hand. It's curious, it's actually on the iPad itself, it's wandering. There's a drone going in, the big beefy one, there it goes, making its way into the entrance. Well, there we are. I'll stop filming now, and I'm very much hoping that this is a successful rehousing of a colony of bees captured by the method of, as I said, a shock swarm. A very good afternoon to you all. Well, we're about half an hour away from the actual capturing of the swarm, but as you can see, there are still quite a few bees left up on that tree. Now, that's the remnants of the swarm. What I'm going to do is to shake those into a box and throw those out as well. The reason being that if the queen has been left behind with those bees as well, then we're going to end up with all the bees returning overnight, and the swarm will be back to where it started. So, fingers crossed, I'm going to now switch off and shake the rest of them back in. Bees are buzzing all around me. I'm not particularly concerned, even though my hands are exposed, as you can see, because the honest truth is the bees have far more important things than little Shidlow filming them at the moment. And a very good evening to you for about the third or fourth time. Well, here we are again, 5 minutes later, and there is the remnant of that swarm which I shook in. the bees are, there's quite a bit of commotion going on. Now, hopefully, this will now not grow in size overnight. I'm now surrounded by bees. I'm going to walk down to the hive now, continuing to film and see how they're marching up the ramp. So we're going to go down. There we are. There's the box in sight. There's our national hive, and there in the just behind the leaves on the left-hand side, we can see the white outline of the WBC hive, which is where the bees are now conglomerating and hopefully walking in. Now there they are. You can observe them as they go in. Whether they are actually going to make it in or whether the queen has gone, really too early to tell. I'm a little puzzled to see that they seem to have stalled at the entrance, and you'll also notice some of them are standing on their front legs doing a sort of a dancing thing. This is called I'm not sure what it's called. It is a special type of a way they indicate, they communicate among themselves. And you see some of them are standing on their front legs and flapping their wings. This is their language. They're telling themselves something. As I'm going to zoom in on them, there you can see that one there flapping her wings, and the one in the middle, she's doing a dance, as I said. There's a special description for this, which I can't remember. They are communicating among themselves, but what they're saying, I don't know. They've stalled. They don't seem to be going in anymore. That's maybe they've decided that the queen isn't there, and therefore it's worth coming out. I don't know. Only time will tell. We shall return later. And see how things are going. I'm being surrounded by quite a few bees who are clearly a little bit disturbed by all these goings on. So I'm going to turn off now for the nth time. I've lost track of the times I've turned off, but this is all very interesting, and I think it's well worth observing. And I think we're very lucky to have such good weather conditions and the conditions of time as well available so that I can do all of this. So here we are. A very good evening to you once again. Here we are, about 8 minutes down the line from the last recording. The remnants of the swarm are still here. I think this is normal. We won't be shaking this lot again. But there are some slightly sinister developments at the other end. So we'll come through and have a look, see what's going on, because there are one or two observations I have made which suggests that all may not be as well as one would hope at this stage. So we're going back to the hive now. And as you see, the vast majority of the bees have now gone in. The vast majority, that's all that's left there. But, and this is the disturbing fact, if we now carefully maneuver out here, you'll see some bees which are clearly injured or diseased. Now, I must say, I've never seen this before. By the way, there's an amazingly delicious smell of honey. The bees clearly have a lot of honey with them. They need that to feed themselves for the next few days as they establish the colony. But as we zoom in on these are bees which are injured or dying, and I don't know what the cause of that is. A bee has just, sorry I jerked there because the bees are intrigued by my presence here, and some of them are sitting on my finger. There's one sitting on I've got 2 or 3 sitting on my hands at the moment, which have no cover on them. That's not a problem. As long as I don't move dramatically, I'm sure that they will not sting me. I'll try and actually show you the bees on my hand by reversing the image in just a second. But these injured bees, that is not good news. That is not good news. It could mean that there is some sort of a disease among the bees. And that's something which I can't relate anything about at the moment. It's something I would know nothing about. Good, the bee has just flown off my hand. Clearly not. But you see, the bees are tending one another. They look after one another. The bee there she's going around and she's looking at her injured friends or her ill friends and trying to find out if there's anything she can do to help. Bees are social animals, and they very much They very much support one another as a family, as a unit. And you see the bee on the left there is struggling. I don't know what the position is. They certainly would not have been injured when they were thrown out of the box. That's not enough to injure them. And as I said, I have not seen this phenomenon before of bees dying or lying. The number is very small. The number is very small. I will zoom out now. And just on my last report, but you see there are definitely a few bees that are not going to make it into the hive this evening, and we shall be monitoring the progress of the health of this hive in the next in the days and the weeks to come. But once again, on this very, very beautiful evening, I'm going to say farewell. I think it's unlikely we'll come back, but we can watch some of the beautiful vegetation which is growing around here. We have this sort of this is a cross between a gooseberry and a black currant. It's got some sort of fancy name. Regrettably, we don't get to eat many of these. The damn pigeons come along. They not only have the cheek to eat them all, but then they do their jobbies all over the leaves. So adding injury to insult. I'm sorry, that's the way that nature works. So here we are, just to show you a few more bits and pieces of the vegetation growing here in Muswell Hill in North London. There are some small wild strawberry plants around here. There they are. I can just show you, while some dandelions that have lost their seeds have been blown into the wind. And we'll just go out and just have a general look at the beautiful surroundings here. I'm backing onto Queen's Wood, and now we can see our beautiful horse chestnut. There's the garden shed. There is the apple tree in full bloom at the moment. And there's a pear tree which has already started to, there are some pears indeed beginning to develop there. And there we have our the national hive, the bluebells, which have been very, very common this year. They seem to have spread everywhere, and every single garden has them. I must say, I don't mind the look of them. They do look very attractive. There are two more hives there which are empty at the end, always ready to take on some extra bees. So with this final view here, I once again bid you all a humble farewell.